So how we go on YouTube? I'm on Conan because it's the least broken thing at the moment. And I'm talking stuff that's in the game that doesn't work as intended, or is purposely not working as intended, or is accidental. It doesn't matter if something is labeled as something and it doesn't do that, or if something that's not supposed to do something is doing it, or some, you know, broken stuff. I'm on Conan because I'm going to compare games like Watchdogs Legion, Cyberpunk, Conan, Elden Ring, this sort of stuff, and not features that people are going like, I don't like that feature, but stuff that's actually broken. It's either not working as intended, or the company is purposefully incorrectly implementing it, or you know, that sort of stuff. The reason I thought I'd do this quick little one is because I found a bug in Conan. I'm on my offline game. I'm in admin. I'll get to it in a minute, but if I go to my admin panel and select Ghost, it turns Stormy when I'm in Ghost. And the second I turn out of Ghost, it goes Sunny again. It's like, it's supposed to do that. So I thought, you know, if that's the kind of broken stuff that's in Conan, then let's compare. So it's like, okay, let's compare it. I'm not going to do things like Watchdogs Legion, where I believe certain features should be implemented and stuff like that. Same with Conan. I've emailed Funcom, saying that I reckon these features should be implemented. A quick little like rundown of some of the things I mentioned. Let's just run over here so I can point it out to you. That tower, that boat, this tent. Let's see what else is in this area that could be like that stack of barrels. So it's kind of something similar. These walkways and stuff like that. Implement them as a DLC as placeables. So, how cool would it be if we can there's like a massive freeze up, okay. How cool would it be if we can get the stuff to make that dock, for example? But, I'm not going to get into that. This is about broken stuff or incorrect stuff in games. At the moment, in my offline game, I can't get my last achievement or trophy on the PlayStation. As if I bring up my map, all these question marks that I've been placing are areas that should have been discovered, but as you can see, I'm at one right now. So this place here has a name, but I've come in here multiple times and it's just not discovering. So that's obviously a bug or something that is broken. The discovery is not discovering, so it's broken. So I'm going, okay, so what's Conan got at the moment that is broken? Well, the admin panel is still buggy as hell. Funcom, seriously, like, don't be a CDPR, fix your shit. Oh, that's my term, by the way. If something is broken as fuck and the company doesn't care about it, that's being a CDPR. Because things like, if I go into my admin panel and just say I want to spawn in, we'll say a thrall. So we'll go to the thrall spawn ins. I'm not going to type anything in because I know the thrall's down there somewhere, but if I come down, tick the thing, yes, it's a tamed thrall. It's not in the A's, it's in the B's. Now if I select that and go down, there's a lot of A's. So I don't want to sit here and hold this and wait for a million years. You used to be able to use your stick, which I'm using right now, and the D-pad, which I'm using right now, at the same time. So you go fast, but as you see, it just kicked me out of that menu. I have to go back into it and keep tapping up until it finds it. So if I use just the D-pad, That's the speed I get. If I use just the friggin' stick, it's the same speed. But if I go to the top and use both, it goes twice as fast. Right now it's working fine, then all of a sudden it'll go, you know what? This is enough. You're not going that speed now, and it'll kick me out of the menu. It'll plonk down to the kill on NPCs or whatever. It's like that sort of stuff. It's annoying, but it's not game breaking. The fact that this game has features that, to be blunt, CDPR said they're not going to put it in their game because it will reduce performance, and yet this game is just as good looking as Cyberpunk. People are going, Cyberpunk is more... Shut the fuck up. Conan Exiles is just as good looking as CDPR's fucking Criminal Fest. With lower quality textures. The world is as big, if not bigger. It is more living. Like, I can come into here. It's got 1, 2, 3 NPCs in this spot. Then I can come over here. There's an NPC there. There's an NPC up there. It's living, and that's just human characters. If I come out here, oh look, there's an animal. Holy, there's another animal. If I look over in this direction, oh, you probably can't see them too far out, but there's a butt ton of crocs and humans over there. It's like, it's way more living than Cyberpunk is. And speaking of features that they want, the feature I'm talking about is if I come into my options, go down to my settings, as it takes its time loading up, you've got all your usual settings, but the one I want to focus on here is the video. If I scroll down, you've got your usual, you know, your how far the HUD can go to the edge of the screen before it cuts off and stuff like that. Gamma, which is brightness in brackets. Motion blur, anyone who has that turned on is the devil. And then you got field of view. That's the feature that the criminals at CDPR said they don't intend on implementing it onto consoles because it would reduce performance. On Conan I can go from a 40. I'll just back out so you can see it. As it takes its time. There we go. That's at 40 field of view, which is what I'm playing at. So a nice close character. Yes, because it's all zoomed in. If I come back out to there, go down to the field of view, let's turn it all the way out. We'll go to max, which is I think 110, 120, 105. And so the vertical and horizontal length that you can't, and that's that view. So that's very fisheye. It's like there's no other way you can plan that, but someone might want it. It's in here. You can do that if you want. If I remember correctly, standard was about 70 or 60. I can't remember. 62 to 72, I believe, is what the usual setting is. Somewhere in there. This it's not the best performing game on the planet, no way in the world, but there's no major issues. They've got field of view, and it's not broken. Then we've also got things like Watchdogs Legion. I can't remember whether they got field of view or not. I've never adjusted it, so if they do, I haven't adjusted it. Elden Ring, I don't think that has a field of view either. But I reckon every game that comes out, whether it's on console or not, should have a field of view slider, a motion blur switch, and should be off by default because we're not the devil, and the whole camera shake crap, that should be turned off a little bit as well. So, for example, in Minecraft, you've got the head bob. Same thing. You can have it turned on or off. People who get a lot of motion sickness or nausea a lot of the field of view and head bob or weapon sway, as it's labelled as in Cyberpunk, need switches. Now, switches, if I come into here, go into our admin panel, all these switches here, except for, right now, Ghost, it does Ghost me, because if I click on Ghost, it'll go Stormy, which it's not supposed to do, but if I go down, I go through the map. So it's working correctly in that aspect. It's just got a side effect of making it Stormy. I don't know why it's making it Stormy. If someone who works at Funcom knows, then they can fix it. Because I don't see anywhere there where there's a button to click on, you know, preset weather selects. If you want to change your weather, you've got to come down to here. Oh, where is it? Set target weather severity, 0 to 100. 0 is calm. 100 is rain, wind, you know, stormy. Then you get your fog, wind severity, wind direction, that sort of stuff. But the fact that this game has an admin panel, I praise Funcom in that. That is like one of the best features any game developer can add to the game. For example, Grand Theft Auto, the story mode. You should better use an admin panel. You can use cheats by using codes, but it's like an admin panel. Ark has an admin panel. Conan, admin panel. Watchdogs Legion doesn't. It would be nice if it did. Obviously, it would have to be disabled for online play. Cyberpunk needs an admin panel. It doesn't. They'll never add an admin panel because they're scummy cunts. So that feature, the field of view one, is working correctly in most games. The biggest broken stuff in Conan right now is probably the fact that I'm not discovering stuff as I'm walking through. Like, when I walk in, you just go boom, you found Southern Dock or whatever it's called. As you walk through a lake, you discovered Shallow Lake or whatever it's called. And that's the only achievement trophy I've got to get now on Conan, and I've got all the trophies. And the only reason I'm doing this is because Cyberpunk has nothing to offer me because it's not the game I bought. And until something new comes out on Watchdogs Legion, I'll occasionally jump on there, look for my perfect, in brackets, operative, and kill all the power L's I can find. Elden Ring, I'm out discovering, but there's only a certain amount of discovering you can do. I didn't buy Elden Ring for the boss fights. I'll get onto the broken stuff in Elden Ring in a second. But I didn't buy it for the boss fights. I didn't buy Elden Ring because it's a Dark Souls game. I bought Elden Ring because it's an open world game. Same as the reason I bought Conan is because it's an open world survival game. But bonus points, and a broken feature is if I come into here and go to it's not in there, what am I talking about? It's there. My nudity sensor is turned off on Conan. Both Conan and Cyberpunk both have a nudity sensor. Elden Ring doesn't, Watch Dogs doesn't, but they never touted themselves as being mature games. So as you can see, my nudity sensor is turned off. So if I back out, and Funcom, this is taking a million years to back out of your menus in offline. Can you do something about it? If I get my character, and so YouTube doesn't have a fit, let's turn this way. Wrong button. Go here, let's take off our armors. You can clearly see I am fully naked when I take all my gear off. Let's do it properly, fully naked. I've got nothing on. That's what nudity is. And if you go into Cyberpunk, which touted themselves as, oh, your region got an R18 plus ratings, so you will not receive any modifications or censorship. and the sensor of nudity is labelled as nudity sensor on or off, and you turn it to off so it doesn't censor nudity. But yet, when you're at this state, you've got purple underwear on. And for the last over 12 months, I've been reporting to the government agencies and stuff like that, saying it's incorrect. It took me 8 months to get a reply from their PR department going, oh yeah, we know it's wrong. Shut the fuck up, we're not fixing it. Let's put that bikini back on. So it's obviously a broken feature, and they're refusing to fix it. They won't add the field of view because, in brackets, it'll reduce performance. Your 8K textures on current gen consoles, that'll reduce fucking thingy. Your bad optimizations, that'll reduce performance. Your non-existent LOD hierarchy, that'll reduce performance. Your excessive detailing of mid-range LODs will reduce friggin' performance. And people are going, oh, it runs better now with 3 NPCs in the entire city and 3 cars in the entire city. Well, it's running fine now, but the nudity sensor is broken. There's no field of view slider. There's no admin panel. And the labels of open world, after you complete the mission, the compulsory mission of getting Johnny Silverhand, then it's open world. Prior to that, it is not open world. Conan Exiles, the second you drop into the world, you can go anywhere on the map. Admittedly, if I bring up the map, if I go straight to the center of the map, I'm going to get murdered. But you can do it, because that's what open world means. Watchdogs Legion, the second you finish the tutorial level, because I'm not going to count tutorial levels. Watchdogs Legion's tutorial, Cyberpunk's Life Paths, Elden Ring's initial, where you come out of the church and get in. I'm not counting them. They're introduction level, they're tutorials. But the second you've done your tutorial and you get plonked into the world, Watchdogs is open world. You can go from the very top of the map to the very bottom of the map, to the left, to the right, anywhere in between. Elden Ring is the same, excluding the lift, which you need the key for. If you can get past the creatures or the NPCs, because unlike Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, Conan, and Watchdogs Legion, they actually have NPCs. The world is actually living. So once you get if you can dodge all them or kill them, whichever, you can explore anywhere on the map. So they're all open world. Cyberpunk, not so much, unless you complete the heist where you get the chip. It's not open world until then. So that's a broken feature. Interactive world. This is where it gets tricky, because the only one that really said it was going to be an interactive world was Cyberpunk. However, Conan, the most interactive worlds are Bethesda worlds by far. Because those ones, for example, if I come down here, because there's some down here, like these benches here, like as you see, I can't click and sit on them. I can't click and sit on that. Whereas the Bethesda one, I'd probably be able to sit on those benches. If I place a seat, I can sit on that seat. So this has building mechanics, whereas Watchdogs Legion and Cyberpunk and all that don't. But none of these games have... they're buggy, but they're not broken. None of the building mechanics are broken. They're just buggy. And it's usually because they try and implement so many features into one option. So start with the basic stuff, like if I, for example, place that down, each edge would have a snap point. Let's see if I want to place each edge should have a snap point, which it does. And that's all the base has. That's all the base needs. But if I get a wall, for example this wall here, and not a lot of people know this, but if you place that wall, for example, people will think, oh yeah, there's a snap point at the bottom for the wall, and then there's a snap point at the top for the roof, or the ceiling. And right, yeah, that's there, but if you come around to the side and you go, there's the floor part, but then look up a little bit, there's another snap point there. So, along that lip just there's another snap point. So that's another snap point they've added. And when they start doing that with all the different shapes and sizes that they've got in the game, they're bound to run into bugs. And that's why it's a buggy system, because 100 pieces, you build it up and it's got 100 bugs. Most of them get fixed, but occasionally there are issues like when you place down a piece, you can't sit on that, you can't sit on that, see if I can find one that you can sit on. I have to actually place this thing back down again, hang on. There's a little indicator, which it's a new feature that they've implemented not long ago. Place, okay, let's come out. That metal arrow thing you can see, occasionally that will be pointing in the wrong direction. Certain staircases or ceiling pieces and stuff, it doesn't point in the right direction. But it's, you look at the piece you're placing, not necessarily the arrow. The arrow is a guide. So none of that is broken, it's just buggy. But the interactions, like you can open the doors. But this is where it's like, it's hard to say whether any of these features are broken, because where's the line? Do you go, I can't sit on this one chair here, so therefore it's not interactive, but I can, any chair I place I can sit on. The same with Watchdogs Legion. You can't walk around to the benches and sit on the benches. But Conan Exiles, Watchdogs Legion, Elden Ring, none of their selling points were interactive world. Cyberpunk's was. So in Cyberpunk, if you can't walk up to, more so in Cyberpunk than any other game, if you can't walk up to that bench and sit on it, you can say, well, that's broken. I should better sit on that bench, because it's clearly a sittable place. But again, it's each person's preference. Like, what point do you say this is no longer a interactive world? Living. Conan Exiles, very living. Buggy living, but living. Generally speaking, you'll walk into any area, you'll find at least 5 or 6 people. Players. Oh, not players, like NPCs. And then usually you'll find animals as well. Like there's 2 animals over there, and if I look in this direction, there's a spot in the distance. Probably not this close. I know there's a crocodile over there. Oh yeah, there's one over there. You can see it running through the bush over there. Don't know whether you've seen it or not. But it's definitely living. Watchdogs Legion. You just walk around the streets. You'll find so many cars and so many people walking around. And they are actually doing something. So it is living. The amount of times you'll be walking around in Watchdogs Legion and like there'll be a street corner guy going, here, read the news, you know, selling newspapers. And then an NPC will randomly go up, he'll hand it out to the NPC, here's your newspaper, or here's your local gossip paper, or whatever you call it, and then they'll walk down the street and reading it. So that's definitely living. Elden Ring. You walk, same as like in Conan here. You walk into any sort of campment like this, you're bound to find, if not NPCs, you'll find animals, or some. Admittedly in Elden Ring it's usually wanting to kill you, but there's something there. It's something that feels like it lives there, and feels like it's doing something. It doesn't feel like it's literally just something that's plonked there and going, oh yeah, there's something, it's there. It actually feels like it. So, Elden Ring, Conan, Watchdogs Legion, they're all living worlds, so none of them have got broken living world part. Cyberpunk, on the other hand, do you really call 4 NPCs and 4 cars in the entire city living? You could, but I wouldn't. But the bit that definitely makes you say no, it's not living, because for example, if this character here, I'm cloaked at the moment, so none of these things are going to actually aggro on me. But if I was not cloaked, they would aggro on me and they'll do something. In Cyberpunk, if you shoot at them, if you got the newest update, yeah, sure, they'll either crouch or run. And very occasionally, apparently, I've never seen it because I don't play it enough, they'll shoot back. So these games done it day one, like when they were released. The NPCs, Cyberpunk, no. Conan, yes. Well, Watchdogs Legion, yes. Elden Ring, yes. Ark, yes. Ark doesn't have NPCs, but it has dinosaurs, so we'll say yes for that. They go around doing the thing. For example, if there was a crocodile out with those 2 deer or elks or whatever, they would fight each other, which is living, which is doing something. All the games except for Cyberpunk, they will do that. The newest update on Cyberpunk, occasionally there is a scripted event that makes it look like that is happening. If you get a wanted level and you coax the cops to the gangs, I've not tried it, but apparently people have showed videos and you can actually get the cops to fight the gang members. You won't come across it naturally because the world isn't living enough. So yeah, broken all on Cyberpunk. All these other games, it's not broken. It could be buggy, but it's not broken. So far, like everything that Cyberpunk was labelled as, it's failed at. Everything Conan's labelled as, it's surpassed. Watchdogs Legion, it's right on the line. What they said it is. They're not going to go any extra. It's Ubisoft. They're not going to give you extra, but they'll give you what you paid for. Funcom, they're trying to give you a little bit extra. So they said it'll be a living world, open world, and it is. You can go around, you can find NPCs. As the main feature of the game is to knock them out and take them back, they need the NPCs there, and they are there. The features like adding level systems, like that's a number 3. He's a number 2. He's a number 2, and he's an archer. They didn't have to do that. Every single NPC around here could have been a fighter, and it still would have been what they promised. But no, they've gone the extra mile. They've added level systems onto the thralls. They've even added things like you can get, for example, a named Tanner that will give you extra stuff. They didn't have to do that. They never promised that, but they gave you that. Ubisoft wouldn't give you that sort of extra features. If they do, it's like, holy shit, they gave us something. Elden Ring, that doesn't. You got your bosses and your randoms. You don't really have a like. He's a Stygian, and the one over there could be a Defari, and the Defaris are weaker than Stygians. There's not that kind of stuff so much in Elden Ring, but it's kind of there. So you can have the whole experience of, do I take on that guy knowing that he's a stronger guy, but I might get better loot? That's the features that are in Conan, Ark. Oh, not so much Ark because you don't really get loot off the things you kill, but yes, but no. Watchdogs Legion, do you go that route? Go through the tougher guys and maybe get a better prize at the end, or do you go that way, don't fight anyone and get the satisfaction of sneaking past? That's the sort of stuff you can do on Watchdogs Legion. Can you do that in Cyberpunk? Not so much. So that's a lack of interaction in it, like a lack of living. If you can't look at a situation, I can come up to here, for example. I want to get on that boat. Straight off the bat, I can tell you there's 3 ways I can get into that boat. I can jump into the water and swim across to there and go up the side of the boat and get into the boat that way. I can then also kill all these people here and go through the dockway. Or I can try and sneak past them. You go into sneak up to them. When they go past, you sneak behind them. If you're clever enough, you can do it. That sort of shit you can do on Watchdogs Legion. You can do it on Conan. You can do it on Elden Ring. Elden Ring's enemies are a little bit on the dopey side when it comes to their vision. Like the amount of times you walk up to a guy like, and you'll be like this distance from that guy to where I am, away, he won't notice you. If you're sneaking, he's not going to notice you. They're pretty dense. But when you get to about here, if you, I don't know, pull a weapon out or something, they'll hear that and go, ooh, I'm under attack. So, interactive and living, yep. All these games are yeses. Until you jump onto Cyberpunk. It's like, seriously? You can't do none of that. They reckon you're supposed to be able to. You're supposed to be, you can sneak. Multiple ways to complete your objective. Well, yeah, you can shoot everyone and charge through, or you can shoot everyone and take cover on the way through, or you can shoot everyone and not go in. It all involves shooting everyone, because the second you get within a certain range of them, they're aggroed on you. There's no... By all means, if you want to say yes there is, then say yes there is, because I haven't played it enough to find any situations where I could use a sneak system. So, yeah, that's what this was about. It was like the broken features in games, and the fact that let's see, Conan was released. Oh, holy crap! Long time ago. It's pretty much, yeah, some of the stuff is broken. Like as I was saying with the admin panel when you go to Ghost, how it goes stormy. That's in my offline mode. If I go into a server and use admin panel, it doesn't necessarily go stormy when I'm in Cloak. This is where Funcom need to focus more so on. Their offline bug fixing has laxed, because they're more, of course Tencent bought them, they are more focused on how can we make the money, charge people for a server. And the fact that the game is very playable, and it has exceeded on what they promised, then that's fine. They can then charge for a server that you can play on with your friends, set up what the parameters are, and so that's all great, because it's not broken to the point where it's not worth paying for it. Watchdogs Legion, if they charged for a server for that, I would consider it. I wouldn't definitely go, yeah, definitely get it, but I'd consider it. If they said you could rent a server, have you and 3 friends join it, and you can set the parameters, like how OP are the cops, how OP are the gang members, how OP you are, how quickly you can earn money, all that sort of shit. Even if you have to start as a new character, so that'd be fairly interesting. Admin panel, hell yeah, sign me up for that shit. But Ubisoft put an admin panel in Watch Dogs Legion, that's never going to happen. Elden Ring, admin panel, never going to happen. Cyberpunk, before I get onto the Cyberpunk, the Watch Dogs Legion and the Elden Ring, if you're playing offline, admin panel, never going to happen. I do not expect it to happen as an online play, because admin panels online play is a bad idea. But offline play or private play, admin panels is a perfect thing to do. Because right now, if I wanted to set up a server on Conan and make it so that when you spawn in, you level up super slow, and when you dig up materials, next to no materials, and you can one-hit an enemy, and they can one-hit you, I can set it up like that. I can't do that with Watchdogs Legion, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, Ark you can. You can go onto the thing, set it up. It's a pain in the ass. It's not as easy as Conan is, but it's doable. Cyberpunk needs an admin panel, but they won't add it. They won't even give us what we paid for, so they're not going to give us extras if they won't even give us what we paid for. At least Elden Ring and Watchdogs Legion are giving us what we paid for. Yes, Elden Ring is buggy. Yes, Watchdogs Legion is buggy. Yes, Conan is buggy. But when you've got here's a line, that is what you paid for that line. Anything above that line is extras, anything below that line is missing or broken features. When Conan, Watchdogs Legion, Elden Ring, Ark, all those sort of things are either on the line or above the line, so they've given us what we paid for or more. But yet Cyberpunk is below that line, and then when you complain, they tell you to shut the hell up, stop complaining, stop putting tickets in, we're not fixing it. And then people defend them, it's like, hell no. That is busted as hell. Now if I was going off performance, like how well the game plays and how well the game looks, I'm not going to go off character rigging, because the only game that's recently come out that actually had good character rigging, Conan's probably at the top of the list there. The character rigging in Conan is actually really good. Watchdogs Legion is really good as well. Elden Ring, I've found some issues with the rigging, but I'm not going to get into all the details. And Cyberpunk's rigging isn't bad, but when the character rigging is not representative of the actual game itself and the way it performs, is like, why even bother? So like Conan, the performance on Conan is passable. The performance on Watchdogs Legion, it's passable. I wouldn't say it's great. Like, I can run around, if I, for example, run from here, so I started there, run up here as stuff loads in, you'll see pop in, you see the little bit of freeze ups and stuff like that. It's like, so it's not perfect, but it's passable. And I'm not talking about frame, I'm not talking about 60 frames, 4K. I don't give a fuck about 60 frames, and I don't give a fuck about 4K. If I can look at something and go, oh, that's a tree, it's clearly a tree, then I'm happy. If I can move, and it feels like I'm moving a character and not watching a slideshow, I'm happy. But when games like, I'm trying to think of a game that people really hated recently. That Call of Duty one, 2042, whatever it's called. Like, people are bagging the shit out of it, and there's like no features and all that. Like, yeah, I can understand them bagging, there's no features. But all the footage I've seen, graphically it looks okay. It doesn't look like it's suffering from major lag issues or pop-in issues and stuff. I don't know, I haven't played it. So this is why I haven't mentioned it before in the list of the points. But if Cyberpunk is, in my opinion, worse than 2042 because of broken and missing features that were promised, and the game is still labelled as having, but yet 2042, what was it labelled as? It was labelled as a yearly Call of Duty game. And if anyone goes, oh, but it's Battlefield or whatever, I call everything that is like that Call of Duty. Battlefield, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, is it called? If it's a first-person shooter war game, it's Call of Duty to me. Because in my limited play of those games, so I stopped playing back at Black Ops 2. I stopped playing it because I got fed up with jumping in. Here's a gun, go from point A to point B and shoot everything in between. It's like, that doesn't stimulate me and it takes no skill. And then there's the Battle Royale, it's the same thing. Here's a gun, here's a circle, stay in the circle as long as possible and kill everyone else. It's like, how is that fun? Like, some people do find it fun. It's obviously a marker for it, because otherwise how the hell did Fortnite and PUBG last so long? I was holding out on PUBG's for the survival mode they promised. It still hasn't come yet. Same with Fortnite. I was waiting for the Save the World. That never popped up. Then I find out late last year that if you buy a DLC pack, check what the DLC packs are. Some of them come with access to Save the World. So the Battle Royale, the Fortnite Battle Royale part is free. But buy yourself, get one that's in sale, do not buy it at full price. A DLC and it says access to free Save the World. $10, buy it. You can play Save the World, $10. So I did that. Hardly play it, because it's nowhere near as good as Conan. But it's there. Epic Games. Those friggin' money hungry little bastards. They put out what they promised. Admittedly they hit it, but they put out what they promised, and CDPR can't. So when Ubisoft, EA, Epic, hell, even Bethesda, Funcom, they're all putting out what they promise. That's CDPR. The people who brought us Witcher 3, Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, which are quite good games. I thoroughly enjoyed Witcher 2. I didn't enjoy Witcher 3 as much, but at least it was what they promised. Cyberpunk, on the other hand, it's like it's day and night. So, well, I'm going to call the stream here, guys, because it's a long one. But most broken game, Cyberpunk. Most broken features, Cyberpunk. Best game, least broken features, Conan. Well, I'm going to call it, guys. I'll catch you next time. Stay safe, and anyone who's in Australia with the floods happening right now, stay safe. Ukraine, we're rooting for you. We can't do much because we're suffering with the floods at the moment, but screw you, Russia. I'm out of here. Catch you next time.